Are we good? I think we are. Okay, just give me a couple minutes. There's just a couple other tabs I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna be changing the window capture settings an awful lot today, so bear with me here. You're also going to be hearing my keyboard and me doing a lot of not streamer friendly stuff, like maybe eating something. Yeah, that's it. Huh? Yeah, so I have not logged into Cynon in a really long time, and I'm looking on there on the website for a particular post, because that's what I was going to do. What? Oh, that's the wrong thread. But it is a thread I know I've been watching. I was watching, so I don't care about that. Oh, I have a feeling that went over terribly. Oh, I think this was it. Yeah, the okay. I don't think I would quite do that, but. Alrighty. Hey, Trek. I don't know. I'm gonna probably do. I'm gonna do a road course here. I think. Just kind of something really short. So, uh, we'll see. I know. I know Clayton wanted to get in, and a couple other people might. So I was going to. Yeah, I should just tweet this out. I think. Because I'm a brain genius that remembers to do things. Yeah, so sorry we have I'm getting started this is starting a bit slow here, but there was something I was looking for. So, okay. I'm just getting looking for a couple of things. No, I want this over here. So I can see the chat. One thing I'm probably going to be doing. Okay. Okay, let's make an NR2003 track from almost nothing. So you're gonna. This is my Sandbox folder. This is a mess. So there's gonna be a couple. There's gonna be a couple of things we're gonna want to open. One of them is WinMip, which I don't have open right now. Nope, I minimized that one. I didn't want to. We're off to a great start. But what I'm gonna do right now is get into the folder that I keep WinMip in, which I'm just letting you know this is just my file structure. You don't have does you have multiple hard drives or whatever. I'm a weirdo and I have like 7, so okay, so I have WinMip open right now, but I'm gonna switch over to it in just a second. So I probably should have done some of these window captures and this stuff a little bit in advance. Yeah, so WinMip is something that you're gonna have to learn to like get used to it and learn to like it essentially. So there's one main reason why I'm gonna be using this. Well, other than the obvious for textures and stuff, and you're gonna want to know about this as well. Oh, crap! It's not doing the. It's not showing the actual. Okay, whatever. We'll do it. We'll do it the hard way. Okay, so so from WinMip. Just want to make this clear again. Gonna open. We're not in the right folder, but the one thing that we're gonna want to go get before we do anything: Papyrus, the NR2003 folder, tracks. This is for all of you who haven't done this yet. So, you're gonna open your shared. You're gonna open tracks shared. Why are we doing? You're gonna ask first of all, why are we doing this? This is just procedural stuff. All right. So what you're gonna do is open shared dat, unpack this, hit the unpack dat thing. I don't need it. I'm not gonna do this right now because this is something I've done a bunch of times, but I'll get into why you're gonna want to do this in just a minute. But now we've unpacked it. I don't think we're gonna need WinMip for the rest of tonight. So hopefully we can go back to okay, so I just went back to the shared folder. You're gonna see this big old unpack folder right here, and you see we just did it. And for just for reference, okay, some people may have noticed, even though I do live in Central Time, this machine has been on Eastern Time out of force of habit, because that was the only way that 8-year-old me learned how to tell time zones when certain NASCAR races are going to be on. So I just thought I'd let you in on that little bit on that little thing. Okay, so this unpack folder, we're gonna use this. I'm gonna copy it, but first after this I'm gonna make the track folder. So I have the unpacked shared data on copy. Gonna make a new folder. This is gonna be our track folder. Okay, Cynon area. Now some people may wonder why I do that. That's kind of a habit thing also. I like to put my handle at the beginning of the track folder name because it starts with the letter C, and because it keeps some of the tracks that I work on, like Xanarkand, Winnipeg, and this is the Wales track that I used in the Master Cup series and the Interdimensional Rift, from falling off of the hello Nas, how are you? That keeps these from falling off the bottom of. So, like, in NR2003, it has, like, the drop-down list of, like, all the tracks you want to select. by having my the track folder for Xanarkand be Cynon Xanarkand instead of just Xanarkand, it keeps it from dropping off the bottom of the list because it sorts them by the folder name, not the or it takes the first 128 track folder names, not like the track short names. So because I'm not that organized. I am a little bit, but not too much. I do that to keep my own stuff from falling off the bottom of the list, and it also is a really easy way for me to document who else had worked on a track previously. Like I'm gonna go with this one that says PST Toronto. So this is me. I worked on it, and then also right after it, PST is Project Short Track because that's where the original came from, and also Thunder 98 had some stuff to do. So if you're watching, T98, thank you very much. I believe you helped in this one. I'm positive you did. Yeah. So this is gonna be very like kind of all over the place today. So RCC Mirage 2, of course, this is Race Car Central. So it's got my name, Race Car Central, Mirage 2. This is something I have been kind of working on and off on. We're not going to be touching that today, though. We're going to go to here, our new track here. Of course, there are some edits I have that, authors I didn't know at the time. So here, we're going to paste the shared folder. I'm going to rename this to shared. But then I'm also going to do this. I'm going to remake... you may wonder why I'm doing this. So I'm going to make a track mat folder in here, even though it may not entirely be necessary right now. And then I'm going to make the same one in here. The reason why I even bring the shared folder in is, whoops, that's got to be track mat, not track mar. Reason why I'm doing that is because of how Sandbox references objects in the when placing objects, how it references objects in the shared folder. Now, in order to really have like anything going here, there's a couple other things we're going to need. And one of them, and a bunch of these come from other tracks. So obviously we're going to need a texture before we even open, like or at least some basic track mat textures, right before we even get to a Sandbox. So I'm going to go into here. This is a track that I am responsible for putting out. This is the track mat folder in here. I think I'm going to archive this. So, yeah, like, don't worry about it. And this is going to be very all over the place. So, anyways, there's going to be a couple basic things you're going to need. Now, there are some people, just fair warning, when you're taking textures from other NR tracks, or textures, objects, unique stuff, some people don't take too kindly to that. Personally, if there's any of you who want to jack shit from any tracks that I put out, go right ahead. I don't care. I have better things to do with my time than worry about that. So what I'm gonna do is take the entire track texture folder from this track because I made it, and none of these textures are original anyway. And if you want to steal from a track that isn't mine, but that isn't mine, but the default tracks that came with NR2003 are fair game, pretty much, like universally considered as much, or considered as such. So we have some basic textures in there. If any of you have seen the TM Master Cup round of Sweden race that I put up for the 2019 season, it's the textures from that. It's all the track materials, and track mat were all the textures for the walls, the grass, the asphalt, the sand, painted line. Some of the painted lines, I'll get to that later. Like if you have AstroTurf runoffs, but not track decals, and also when you have walls, it's also like when you have walls with sponsor logos on them. That's also going to be there. So, another thing I'm going to do is we're going to be using we're going to be tracing anyway, sort of off of a series of runways in a certain place. The only thing is I don't remember off the top of my head where that folder went. So, it's my backup folder. Okay, so I have a track backup folder which is all my non-active tracks, and as you can see, it's massive. It's got a lot of stuff in here that never got released or anything of this. No, it's not in here. It was in here, or is it in Fixable? Yeah, Fixable Tracks is like a folder I had that was just yep, here it is. This was a track that I had in game. This has got a lot of garbage in it, but I'm looking for one thing in particular. And you'll see why I gave it the file name in just a minute, because these are all... This is what I'm looking for. So someone on StuNod mentioned something about... I'm going to go into here. We're going to put it here. Mentioned something about a... doing something with the runways at Area 51. And I thought, what the hell? I actually had this MIP file. Actually, I should probably open WinMIP so that you can see what that is. So I'm gonna just open that. I know it's not the so you can see what this looks like. So for this is a background image in Sandbox, or is how I'm gonna be using it. This is just what it is. The black on the side doesn't matter, and this, like the contents of this, also don't matter. I also think compared to the image on no, this is the right way up. So I'm gonna be kind of doing what I did with the Burlington track that I put out like several years ago, and that. The Burlington track was traced off of an airport runway in Burlington, Vermont, and like it's not identical, but it's very, very similar. Like I did cut some things out and like lengthen some things just to make it a better track, but yeah. So now I have some basic stuff in here. I'm going to get to the fun part. One thing to note is I do just about everything listening to music a lot, and I also have a tendency to hum along to what I'm doing a lot. So if that annoys you, you are a lot too late for that, because I may do that just to kind of it's like one of the stims I do. It's been an annoyance to everybody I've ever known in my real life. And, yeah, kind of deal with it. Oh yeah, there's something else there's something else that we're going to get also later. So don't worry about, like, LPs, setups, the track INI, anything of that sort right now. We don't need to worry about it. Hey, Darian! How you doing, man? We're making some goofy NR track based off the runways in Area 51. So I'm bringing this back up. So okay. Is Sandbox behaving today? Serve it. Oh yeah. Before we actually do anything, let's just have a quick peek at the track the next Master Cup race is going to be at. If this wants to load, here we go. I just want to take a quick overview of this. So I know it's taken like a little while for this to come out, but yeah, I kind of went nuts again, and I can't help myself. But thankfully, the one after this is going to be really simple to do. Yeah, this track, the geometry stayed mostly the same. It's just that I went nuts with prettying it up. I absolutely lost my mind. That big hotel is from an R Factor track. So that's kind of what I'm saying. Don't always some people in the NR community or R Factor community will get a little mad at you if you take their objects. This kind of I did it for this track. That's I'm not saying do it, but if you do, just be kind of be careful. But if it's any original object that I did, go ahead. I'm saying I will get mad, but there are people that will, and sometimes just ask them as just to be nice. that's kind of what I like to do. What that's kind of a good go-to, I think. All right, we got to turn the there's a grid that I think is not on right now because I'm zoomed way out. That's why. Okay, so here we have our first little dinky straight. Your basic unit of an NR track, a 10-meter straight. So the first thing so we're gonna need to make sure that this actually goes in the right folder before anything else. But I gotta also say, this make lead segment, you have to do this first because if there is no lead segment defined, Sandbox will crash when you save it. That is something you absolutely have to do. It is very it can be temperamental like that. Sometimes Windows 10 doesn't like to save some things. Sometimes that's the only like complaint that I've ever had with Win 10 is that sometimes I have to like come out and resave something, like do this. I know there's like a reason why for it, and I remember I looked it up a while ago, but I didn't write it down or save a bookmark of it, which pretty much means I didn't care enough. Okay, so another thing is the metric system is like working with Sandbox and NR2003 tracks made me stump really hard for the metric system because that's what NR2003 uses internally. So the track length, I'm gonna try to move one of these window captures or make one of these window captures the primary so you can see it a little better. I'm probably made it worse. But so this at the bottom right here, you see the track length to the 2D track length, 10 that's 10 meters. And the beauty, of course, the metric system is everything goes by 10. And that's good. And like a meter is and a yard are close, but not really. So it does make things helpful because to go off metric because the width of a car in NR2003 is I think it's like 1.5 meters wide and I think 4.5 or 5 long, something like that. But the width is the thing we're concerned about. The width is the thing I'm going to be worried about. Okay, so before we get into what each section is, there's that nice little background image I had. I'm going to bring that in. Oh crap. Window caption. This is not playing nice. I should. So okay, there's on bring the background image in for that track. Adjust background image. Y area 51. This is the width is 2,000 meters. Length 2,000 because that image is square. I think it's square anyway. We're gonna want this to be square. If it's not, we'll find out real quick. Center X, Y, rotation. You're not gonna really ever want to change those, although unless like you save the track and then reopen it. This is basically just like a backdrop for you to use. And as you can see, yeah, that's probably a little too big. So I'm just gonna go in and just make that 1. We're doing fine, Issue Battler. How about you? Gonna bring this in. So I want to first mention that if Anthony on Stunot is watching this, yeah, this is when you posted your layout or whatever of a track on these runways here. That's kind of what gave me the idea to like finally get off my ass and do this after saying I was going to do it in the NR2003 fans Facebook group, I think 5 years ago. And so okay, so I'm going to position where we're going to have this first straight. So I'm just going to go with the longest straightaway. And now we get to what direction do we want the track to go, clockwise or counterclockwise. I personally like to do counterclockwise tracks, even though like my history of making tracks says I do a lot of clockwise tracks because that's what's usually a bit more common. Okay, so I'm just gonna look down here and see what would make for probably better racing. Down this one runway here, I could go, because what Anthony had was it would have like a little like right left here, which is the problem what I do along, then like another left, which would lead into a hairpin right here, come down here, here, down. Now, okay, so you may notice I'm moving this around. So the Sandbox key commands, the Z key is zoom in, X is zoom out, and C centers the view over where the mouse is. So that, I think I have to make that, I think I had to make that a bit more clear. I'm just going to full screen this. So in case you're wondering how I'm like moving this around, those are the only keys I really use. I know there's more than that. Yeah, commit to the back straight. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, and when Anthony's layout came through here, and then it went down, it didn't use this. It just went for a left, and then left, right, left, and back around. It was kind of a simple track. I don't think I'm going to follow that exactly, but I might do something pretty close. So now we go back to our first segment. This guy. We're going to orient it going this way. Track width. So these two red lines are X sections. X sections, that's gonna be how, like, for every X section you have, it is gonna be how, like, the game determines, like, elevation, banking data, etc. You can kind of have progressively banked tracks at NR2003, but not smoothly. It's not. It's a little bit wacky like that. Now, as for the width of the track, 10 meters wide, I believe, is the width of Road America. So that's fine. However, we have to also like kind of take into consideration, like, okay, what's going to be off either side of the track? Like, okay, we got, like the pit lane, Marshall stands, whatever other crazy bullshit you want to put in, anything like that. So I'm just gonna, so I'm gonna be reading off these numbers in the bottom right corner. There's it's gonna be a little hard to read, but the first set of white numbers, it says there's 0.00 meters, minus 10. Minus 10 means to the right side of the start-finish line. If it's positive, it's to the left side of the start-finish line. And this, or left side of the center line, I should say. Not start-finish line, sorry. This pink line going, this is really hard to see, and I'm sorry about that. But this pink line, I'm going to try to make this, does that make it better? Kinda. So this right here is the center line. This is where, like, a lot of track measurements are done, like, by the center line of the track in NR. It's not universal, and there's a thing called Butter's rule if you're making short tracks, which I advise you kind of look up if that's what you're going to be doing. Wild Customs in Cars is a good resource to like learn how to make short tracks at. Is scale properly grabbing the screen? Does it accurately reflect the size of the background image? Yes. If you could, yeah, if you're trying to make it perfectly accurate, am I trying to do that? No, I do not care. I'm straight up just saying I do not care how wide this is. It's probably, honestly, this probably might be wider than, this is probably wider than 10 meters, honestly, because this is a runway. But for our use, I'm gonna try to make like a 10 meter wide track. So I'm gonna drag this out because we're gonna want we're gonna want space off the track. So I'm gonna go 2709, whatever, that can be moved. And because we're gonna have a hairpin, we're gonna have, like, not really a hairpin, but we're gonna have like a turn right pretty close to there. I'm gonna just move this out, but not as far. These don't matter as much, but as long because I'm going to do, so when we do and actually no, I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do that later. So these are going to be for our, like, track, like, the outer boundaries of the track. Like even when you're driving like way off into like the scenery, like this is the stuff where like the invisible walls, if there are any, will kick in and say, no, you're not going out here, bud. I'm gonna put another X section here for the outer limits of the racing line. Why? Because this is again a habit that I formed. And this is going to be on either side of the painted lines, which I'm going to say arbitrarily are. See, do we need those to be that? No, I don't think we need those to be different. We can just get away with having them be the same. I'm gonna try to make some of this a bit simpler from here on out, but I am the grand master of overcomplicating things unnecessarily. So that should not be over there. So these two, since these are the track outer limits, these absolutely are going to be lined up as close as possible. Again, I am reading off the first set of white numbers. The second set of white numbers and the second set of red numbers, those are only useful for doing cameras and specifically the pit lane 1 and pit lane 2 cameras. So if you and those are for more like of an absolute position, because that's what those work off of. And what I mean absolute position, I mean based off of like the center of your actual workspace. And the center of your workspace is determined by it's like right here, essentially. But every time you save, Sandbox will tell you, do you want to recenter the track? You better pick yes, and that's why you better pick yes, because those will get like realigned for you, and a lot of other stuff like that will be recalculated. But outside of the spectator cameras and like some object placement and object placements, that's mostly what it's going to be used for. Okay. Maybe this track will host. Hello, Adam. Host a future Master Cup race. Yeah, who knows? I'm just doing this to just kind of let everyone in on like my general thought process and like working habits are for making NR tracks and just content for this game in general. So nothing we're gonna do a lot. We're gonna save often, a lot. We're gonna try to save really often, but another thing I like to do is save iteratively, which basically means I'm going to name this one Area 2, and then I'm just going to keep working, because sometimes on some machines, some people have problems with Sandbox crashing a lot. I don't necessarily. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about with automatically save center save track. It'll do that next time I reopen it. Anyways, my train of thought derailed. Crap. Yeah. So I end up making so much. I like make a lot. Okay, so so an F section. An F section's a texture. Well, it's it's like a texture mapping. It's like and like everything to one side of it will be mapped at that texture, and we'll see what that is shortly. I think it's everything to the left side of it. Left side of the green line, everything with that is going to be mapped to this texture. Or is it to the right side? I don't remember off the top of my head. So we have this handy little guy right here. This is why full screening this was not a good idea. Yeah, okay, it's everything to the left of this one, of this section, is going to be determined by, is going to be what this texture is, or everything to, like, the green line that I selected, which is this one. Again, I apologize, this is hard to see, because I have a pretty, like, high, like, the resolution here is, I think it's, like, 1920 by 1080 or whatever. But, so we have this list of MIPs here that we can select for track textures. These are all brought over from the Gothenburg track that I mentioned earlier. And if you see a texture name in blue, that means it's not used anywhere. So if there's a texture in black, you have to, like, you can't, like, be moving that around or anything like that. So I think these are actually all the Minnesota ones, the ones the Minnesota track, because I'm noticing the file names are all like that. And when that happens, oh yeah, because oh yeah, this is one of like the quirks of Sandbox sometimes is okay, it crashed. So I'm gonna have to do some of that over again, but that's fine. Where is Craig Juice? Where's Craig Juicer? MIA. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna delete that. So this is why we did why you save iteratively. We have that your first lesson in that. If you're not, haven't made NR tracks, stuff likes to crash and it breaks a lot. Okay, camera view. So this is like so this is where we have the camera like looks around camera view for the track, and you notice this where you may be wondering, where does this sky map and all this come from? Comes from the shared folder that we brought in earlier, because it references what Sandbox looks for. It looks for the directory above it. Like if there's like a sky, if Sky 3DO is not in the track folder, it goes up one directory, looks for the shared folder, and then looks for that. So by doing that, you're kind of saving Sandbox from having to do some stuff. So I'm gonna have to like do some of the things we just were messing around with over again. That's fine. I do not mind, because a lot with Sandbox is more time consuming than it is difficult. Okay, so like when you have something here, you notice when you open the track, I can't do anything with it. That's because it's locked. Right click, unlock all geometry, just kind of as a matter of principle for whenever you're editing a track. Again, if this is depending on any habits you form, maybe you'd want to do that, but I never found a need to. So there's like another way to like make some things like line up a lot quicker. If you want to like do like a shortcut to what we did earlier, and I'm gonna show you that right now. I don't know why I didn't before, but that's how my brain either works or doesn't, depending on who you ask. So you have append and prepend segments. So prepending just means add behind where you are, and when you do that, no matter if it's a straightaway or a curve, Sandbox will always try to make it the same length. But you notice that because when I did prepend, it has only the position of the X sections on this to go off of. So I'm going to delete that, and then here we have this, and they're all right where they are before. But also, I need to make this a lead segment again. Of course, I also now need to put the track texture things back in, so I'm going to be doing this again. And sorry, that's my phone, which I have currently sitting on my left leg at the moment. Okay, so now why am I putting these so close to each other, and why am I putting them over here? This is going to be the painted line on the edge of the track. And over here, this is going to be our grass, basically. Now, if you want to have some tracks that you see for this game have this not lined up, like the outermost F section and X section in the same spot. A lot of my tracks do that, but not always. And if for those of you who have downloaded Big Blue, the NR track that I made that has where you can get thrown into the ocean, how I did that was essentially how I had an X section for like the top of the like the edge of the top of the platform, and then I had another one over here, and because this is textures are only mapped from here and everything to the left of it, that was all empty. And because you can't have an invisible texture, that's how you cars could fall into the water. So they were falling onto an area that had no texture. So that's how you can get them to go onto the track. The Xanarkin Promenade track that I'm making uses that extensively as well. Which that track is a monster. Another thing about F sections is that they cannot cross an X section. So you notice I can't pull this over and have it cross over the red line there. So that is a known. That's like a known limitation, but I don't think it's entirely a bad one. And I mean, when I mean cross, I mean like you can't have it like cut across. Like a texture can go across an X section sometimes, but like this does. But the F section line does not cross the X section line. So when we do this, unlock materials, because we are now selected this one, so this is going to be, we're going to make this grass and apron. And why am I setting that to apron? Because that anything to the anything on apron will not draw yellow if there's an AI car or a car sitting on there. Okay, so U and V mapping. U and V mapping. U mapping is this is just how like the textures are mapped. The smaller the number is, the more the texture is going to repeat. Depending on the size of the texture, the source texture file, you may want this larger or smaller. And actually, depending on the texture file itself, you may want this to be larger or smaller. These files that I have, the CMUK grass, that came from a certain other game, which don't worry about it. Anything like with the way that this is the size of this of that original texture and the quality of it, mapping it to 1 is going to work. There's a lot of people that say make tracks to say don't do anything less than 2 because of how the human eye is actually really good at noticing patterns, and that's one thing. That's one thing that, like, you know, you can get like the strobe. So there's like a strobe effect that happens on the Abu Dhabi that was released for NR because the texture is repeating so much that it looks like you're not, you get the sensation of not moving at all, which is incredibly disorienting. So like, do be careful of that. But with the way that this texture is, 1 is fine. But again, you have to kind of know what you're working with. So you see in the MIP here, CMUK is in black. That's because the lettering there, because that's being used. CMUK grass N is a normal map. I'm not really going to get into those here, but if you know what those are already, you know, more power to you. So paint line LW. So now I'm going to get into a little bit about what Gestalt Raceway Park. I'm going to get a little bit into what the fixed U and if you have, so okay, so let's say you have something that you want, a texture that you want to be perfectly fit in the bounds of the texture box. Like, it has to be like, you know, you don't want to have to fiddle with numbers to make it like you know, stretch beyond like the limitations of it, right? Locking the U and V in one direction or the other is how you do that. So by locking the U of this, and I'm going to set V to 1, you may notice this is our painted line. And it's because when U's locked, that means it's only going to stretch across this once, no matter what. It'll stretch across it once, and that's it. If I do it with V, it'll do the same thing. Which, since it's stretched out a lot, it may be a little harder to see. So this is what we want. And if I do the reverse, it's going to look like, you know, it's, if we have it 1-1 like I did there, it's going to look like that, but that's not what we want, because there is a little there's like a little, whoops, I did it backwards. there's this little black stripe right there. That's like a little thing I added in the texture to give it like a sense of like where the edge of the paint is. So this is obviously for material paint. That actually does make a difference because painted lines like the paint surface material, I don't think heats tires up as much. There's a thing that became a meme in the league that I ran in at the time, involving the grip on the paint, because we were running on a super speedway, and I'm not gonna say the guy's name right now, but he knows who he is, and everyone who knows the story is already probably giggling like an idiot. But it was at Riki Raceway. He hit the painted line, and because of the way the paint grip was set on the track, it shot him back up into the traffic, and he wiped out a good chunk of the field, and he just yelled, "Fucking paint grip!" Which he was right, but it sounded like a cop-out. Like, it sounded like he was lying, although I knew he was right. I knew he was right, that's what caused it. But, it sounded just really goofy at the time. But yeah, I just thought I'd share that. Now, whether or not you want the painted lines to be racing surface or asphalt, it really depends on who you are. And also just scrolling through this list right here. Paint line LW and LY. That's what the difference is between those. Material wood. Okay, so the wood material. The wood material, if you hit it, will insta-kill your car. So if you want to do one thing that I've wanted to do was I wanted to do this for a long time. It's really simple, but I of course never did it. Well, it was to do actual more legit OW open wheel. Yeah. Tristan made a good point right there. Yeah, paint grip does save the tires. So material wood, I wanted to do some more air quotes legit open wheel conversions for some tracks where the all of the walls would have the wood material, because you're not supposed to hit those in an open wheel car. So basically, you scrape it, you're done. I don't think any of the default NR tracks use it, so I think it was just kind of a leftover from GPL, because there is a lot of GPL carryover code in this game. That's a good thing and a bad thing, but mostly a good. Actually, I think I'm gonna just say no. That's a good thing. Reusing code is good, and anyone who tells you it's not has never built anything in their life. And that includes doing things like some people who would whine about Resident Evil remakes or whatever, using the same model for bolt cutters. Number one, they're bolt cutters, my guy. Shush. And number two, reusing things is good because then you don't have to remake them again. Oh, so using wood for catch fences, yeah, that's a good use of it. Okay, so here's their asphalt. This you obviously want racing surface for many different reasons, and also because the AI, if they don't have one coming to the green flag. Now this I mapped it to because of how big the texture is and to avoid strobing. You may also note this is a pretty low contrast texture, which is that's what you want ideally. So you remember what we did before. Pre-pen straight. Of course, now my luck is just gonna crash again. Now you may be wondering, why are we doing just one segment and focusing on just one segment now? I know a guy who could use your style of conversions for his open wheel NR2003 series. Whether he'd actually use them is the big question, though. The thing with what I mentioned is it's actually not difficult to do. It's just time consuming, because you don't actually need to, you have to modify the track geometry and all, but you can just open the track file and just select and do each piece of wall, It'll get annoying really quick, but it does work. Okay. It worked this time. Okay, now I'm gonna set the walls. That's kind of why I wanted to do a road course here. So with oh yeah, so one thing I want to mention also about doing elevation. I do the elevation right after I trace the original, like the initial track layout, because otherwise, oh boy, oh boy, are you in for a world of pain. Yeah, I'll do the elevation sometimes before I have even done the pit lane. I think that's how I did it at the Golden State track that I put out. But again, since it's a road course, you know, the walls don't need to be right next to the track. In fact, I'm just going to put that one right there. Materials, wall. I always do apron for a wall just because. If you don't want to, fine. That's your prerogative. Okay, so I have on that Gothenburg track that I released, I have wall T, wall R, wall L. I'm gonna scroll over where this is on the camera view real quick. Oh. Driving mode will take you to the start of the track. So, yeah, Tristan knows what Tristan, what Tristan in the chat just said. Yeah, it's a goddamn headache if you attempt to mess the elevation. It can be a headache, but with it before completing the track. But yeah, you really have to kind of have a good plan on it. Like if you're like recreating a real track, it's a little bit of a different story because sometimes with those you may have like a lot of the elevation data like right in front of you, so you'll be able to do that just off of that. All right, so what I did for I need to mention this. So with the way that the walls go, the way that the top texture goes, I don't have to lock the V in, but I do, and but I absolutely have to, and I'll show you why in a minute when we do the left side. So left wall, I'm gonna set the U to 1 because that's also what we want. But why am I not gonna set V to 1? Although this looks okay, just gonna line this camera. Whoops, that might be good enough. If I log V to 1, you'll notice we get our little like scuff line at the bottom of the wall. Hello, Siege. We have that right there. So wall L, and of course I'm gonna do the same thing to wall R, but I'm not gonna look at it while I do it because we've done that already. Okay, so the wall height. This is why I like to do everything in meters, right? Is because a lot of sandboxes like tooltips and stuff also do things with metric, physical size and visual size. Yeah, actually, Steve. Yeah, funny enough, I was just talking about that. So physical size is how big the wall actually is, like how big like the actual contact box is. The visual size can actually be, so if I put the visual size for here at 0.6 at the head, that means at the head of the segment, the wall is going to appear to be 0.6 meters wide, but it will be it'll actually still only be 0.5. In other words, you can like have a car like go through part of the wall without actually hitting it. You can do the reverse too and have cars hit invisible walls, which I do not advise at all under any circumstances, because it is kind of pointless. I usually try to keep these about the same, but I'll have I've sometimes made visual size a tick bigger than the physical size, just to have cases where like you can scrape the wall, like oh they scraped the wall but they barely got away with it. On an oval track, maybe sometimes on a road course I've done that. And the one thing I've used that for especially is tire barriers, because you can tilt the top of the wall. there's a lot of funky shit you can do with the walls. So I want to point out that the if you've ever seen the Champions Arena track, that I might just bring that up really quickly. I'm gonna do that actually, so you know what I'm talking about. Here is Champions Arena. So this is a track that looks like a Coliseum kinda that I did a while ago. I'm gonna bring this up in 3D SimEd, but I'm gonna do so I'm gonna turn the track. It's gonna load just the track geometry here. No, all the objects are off. In other words, what you can see right here is that all of the stands are here because these are all solid. So you can do a lot of really neat stuff with the track walls in NR. With these archways are solid, and actually so are the holes there. Those are actually solid too. But that's the way that's a transparency in the texture. But all of the stands here are solid, and I do have a video uploaded on my channel which has a car flying into the stands and landing on top of them, just to kind of demonstrate that yeah, these are all solid walls, and you can do some. There's a lot you can do with walls, which the W section walls, and also of course the center line divider is, you know, solid as well. Yeah, Champions Arena, and actually all of the people in the grandstands, those were originally W sections that I took into 3D SimEd and then just cut out the texture of them in, and then then replaced it over and over again. Like not each individual person, but like each line of like each like couple rows of spectators. Because there is a limit on each with each segment, how many W sections, X sections, and F sections you can have per segment. And when I mean a segment, I mean either straight, like this is one segment of track. If I put a turn back here, this is another segment, right? So I'm gonna just do that for now. So there's a thing with the walls that's where you see orientation, vertical, and perpendicular. If you want to do like catch fences and stuff, that's where like if you want to do like catch fences and stuff, you're gonna be using this stuff down here and the points. And also, this is how I did this stuff right here is how I did the outside walls on Xanderkind, which that was a pain in the ass to do, but they look really awesome right now, so I'm extremely happy with it. But I'll show you what those look like. Or you've probably seen what those look like. I posted like a bunch of videos about it on my channel, and I thought about I still want to have that track released by the end of the year. Control points, as in like the these guys. Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, so points right here where it says points. Let's see, just talking about this is show a control point is. So you can technically have more than 4, but Sandbox only lets you define 4, and it only lets you like set the parameters for 4, but just for the sake of making it just for the sake of making this a little bit less just for the sake of like making sure that everyone's brains are, you know, not putty, because mine are when I did the like put a number higher than 4 in here. So in order to like really show this off, I'm gonna make this wall 10 meters tall. Don't worry about the invisible texture on the end there. Actually, no, I'm gonna fill that in. So near is what's gonna be the leading edge. With these textures, this wall L will work. I have everything selected. I think I do. Oh, I think it's because this is still tied. So when something's tied together, it's going to be like lined up, and sometimes it'll not like it when you have a texture there. Okay, so anyways, control points. I do believe this has to do with a lot with like elevation, and this is how this. If you're wondering how to do a catch fence, you're gonna be using these a lot. So I just move that. So I think some of these work by percentages, and if you can get some really funky looking shapes with these by doing these, but there isn't much of a point to do that. Again, unless you're trying to do like what I did with Xander. I may actually have to just load that track up for it to be a better like demo of that, because I had to do some really funky shit because I had to get like a trapezoid shape out of it. X is of course horizontal, and negative is to the left. Yeah. No, because I usually have like a reference for these in front of me, because I don't like doing control points either. I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I find these annoying, which is why I don't do them often. I don't play with this too much unless I absolutely have to. So I'm gonna actually do. I'm gonna just load up Minnesota so you can see how those are, how those work for the fence. But before we do that, as always. Yeah, because that's a track I know. Xanarkin I know has them too, and I mentioned that track a lot already. But Minnesota, I think that it's going to be a bit more tangible. Okay, so I'm going to unlock all geometry here, and I'm going to zoom into this guy. Okay, so the here's our guy, the fence. That is not rents. This might be a little hard to see, so sorry about that, because this is a transparent. This is a slightly transparent texture. It is, after all, like catch fence. So what you're going to be looking for in the control points is these 4 little dots right here. Siege, you're getting some more love for the Archimod. Okay, so the first control point is this guy down here. Is the first one at the bottom, and it goes all the way up. So by having 0, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 is it's not deviating a bit on X, and then on Y it's pushing outwards. You notice the X is the gray dot here, Y is the yellow dot. Again, that's stuff I don't like mess with too much, because I haven't committed it to memory. So yeah, when I move the yellow dot, when I move the yellow dot out, tell it to move out, or I think or am I getting those backwards? I might be just reading these backwards because I'm, galaxy brain. Either way, but yeah, the way that like these work is, the third one, you see here that when it hits each point, it curves the texture, like curves the shape of the wall. Like an individual, like by individual points. and which is again used to make the shape of the fence. This is something that I if it's not like coming to my head at the like immediately, it is because you know, again, it's not something that I use much or I feel the need to use, which is funny because on the track I most recently put out and the track I've spent the most effort on, outside of no, actually probably more than Gravis City at this point. No. I've worked at Gravis City took way longer than this. Okay, I'm gonna open up Xanarkand. Just to show you like what some of the most extreme things to do with no, you don't use it with them. You don't manipulate it with the mouse. Or if you can, I'm not doing it. Okay, so this is the most extreme case of control points is the walls here, because these are actually two different walls. Two different W sections, each folding a different direction. Hello, Blue Hedgehog. I just like going through control points, so which is something I don't use much. So you see right here. This is the right side of the wall. I think we're right about here, but it's the same way around everywhere around the track. The right half of the wall, it has 6 points defined, but since you can only manipulate the first 4, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it has the other 2 just kind of auto. 4.4 is on the directly on X0 Y0 because it's going out and then back inwards. And then 5 and 6 being way under here. And if the reason why I have points at 6, I think if I remember rightly, if I turn these down, it actually deforms. So like it looks like absolute madness, and that's because it is. Yes, the inside and outside catch fences do need to. They use the same numbers, but they're backwards. They do need. But yes, Nas, that's correct. So I'm going to go back to our demonstration track. Okay, I'm going to need to realign this because okay, so sometimes Sandbox will not like to play nice with you when you want to move the background image because it's dumb. Especially if you need to move it back to negative coordinate. Oh no, it's actually behaving tonight. Okay, I've had to like adjust it by like 0.01 or something like that to get it, or just like to like adjust size or what have you. Oh yeah, it's that one that I've had to do it with. Okay, scale track actually scale. So the scale track option. You can like make the track bigger or smaller by a certain percentage. If you like scale it down too far, yes, theoretically it'll just flip everything upside down though, and it'll break it. So, do I advise it? No. Like I think in order for that to even theoretically work, you need to disconnect every piece of every section from each other, so there's that to keep in mind. No, I had it the right way. I had thinking the right way the first time. I'm brain galaxy genius brain here. I don't know why I keep thinking that scale track is the second option, but no. Nope. Okay, so another thing is you actually have to click OK. Like, sometimes some things don't like it when you hit the Enter key, which is a habit that I have, and I'm mentioning that in case anyone else does. I'm cursing myself. How do you get Sandbox? Sandbox is freely available.
I know there's like people that have had difficulties like installing it and running it. I didn't. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. On not every machine I've had, but on this machine, my last machine, and I think even the one before that, I had an issue putting it on. But I there was a laptop that I think my school laptop, which I some for some reason haven't blown up, or just broken from trying to turn it on. Um, I think um, that had some issues installing it, but I also didn't care with that machine. So, oh yeah, another thing. Oh, the this replacing is rough to watch. You mean like or like just the repositioning of all of that, some of that garbage? Oh, drag and drop. Uh, the drag and drop part is that's like track objects. There that the thing I hate the most about Sandbox is that a lot of it can get tedious kind of quickly, but but the reason why I'm building this track this particular way is ah shit. Okay, so I just made Sandbox crash, and I'm actually glad I did this because now all of you can know what I did. So I hit the all right. So the I hit one like my like habit sometimes is I'll hit like a letter key to scroll to that texture really or to scroll to that item in the list really quickly. Well, guess what? There isn't. There I hit the letter T. There is no texture with T, so it's just gonna hang like that. Or just gonna do that. Now you know not to do that. Oh, I don't need to do that. So we've made Sandbox explode in a couple of different ways, and now you know like kind of some things to avoid. Do do do.
All right. So what I'm actually gonna do is I need to I'm gonna like head to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Okay, sorry about that. Zone 2. Zone 2 is a it's based off the Caesar's Palace layout that Cart ran in 1983 and 1984. That's what that is. I didn't get too far on it, but I did really love that track. Like I said, it is conceptually based around that. The resemblance ends pretty quickly. Because it wasn't supposed to be the same length. I think that's a little bigger, but the other like kind of thought with that is there's one it's basically there's like one giant building in the middle of the track. And it's not like maybe not necessarily one giant building, but there's like a couple of large buildings in the center. And then the track just goes around it. I'll probably revisit that same concept with I'll probably like repurpose that for a different track idea, because that like I might keep that layout, but it might not be a Grava City track. It might be another one that it might be the sort of anti-Grava City track that I had planned for a really long time. Which in that case, what would be in the middle would be a park, which is very similar to, which is also a concept done by another track made for NR, and also that was run in real life. You may have heard of Leipzig before. Leipzig is a real track in the GDR from like 1950 to 1960. And if you don't know what GDR stands for, that is the German Democratic Republic, also called East Germany. So, W to get wall T for the top. I remember like a little while ago, Sandbox 2 that's supposed to. I have never seen that. No, I have not. And it's like this Sandbox's user friendliness is it's user friendly when you're aware of the problem, like a lot of the issues beforehand. Which, you could say that's not user-friendly at all. It's not newbie-friendly, I will say that much, because it's a dev tool. Developer tools very seldom are newbie-friendly, because, again, they don't have to be. So, I'm just going to put this, that right there right now. I need to realign this again. What was it, minus 260 or 270? It's, okay, so, like, that's why so this is why I'm, like, doing this stream in the first place. It's just to kind of, like, take a lot of, like, the mystique away from, like, and, like, how daunting some of it is. Because, like, yeah, we're not moving along at a very rapid clip. Like, I'm not going very fast. I'm, like, kind of rambling a bit because that's just kind of how I am. But, yeah, like, a lot of this can come together really quickly. And I know it doesn't look like we're going very far now, but I want you to look to see what we have. We have a track. We have a basic strip here with walls on either side. We have some basic amounts of elevation data that we have here on either side of the painted lines. We could put one on the wall if we want to. And actually, I'm going to do that. I'll just redraw this one. Oh yeah, absolutely go do that. Absolutely do that. And that's why I picked to do this airport as well. Not only because the guy on Stunod, Anthony, said yeah, I want to do this, this would be a neat track to have, or neat layout to drive, what have you. But also because it's as long as we have a layout of it, we can just trace on top of it. Oh yeah, and that was how many years ago? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people's ages except my own kind of slip past me, but I'm in my 30s, so that should put that into perspective. Okay. Yeah, it'd be a while ago. That's alright, I got crap on here that's about that, some crap that's about that old. Okay, I don't like the way that is profiled. No, sorry, I thought my thought my phone was vibrating, but I remembered my phone is now not on my leg anymore. Alright, so I'm actually going to move the background image again just a little bit, just because, to make that turn a little bit wider. So yeah, also with turns that have kind of weird angle. So with also turn sections, you'll note that we can't, have one curve section go for everything. We can right here. Should we though? That can be a little debatable. So we're gonna use 2 here. Oh no, no, absolutely no. This is definitely for your benefits here. No. No, I don't have one. But no, I think it was something rattling. Oh, we're going. Yeah. Yeah. Background image. I'm gonna move this. Anything up. Let's see if my shabby brain is still. Okay, not quite. Good enough. All right, whatever. I'll get back to that. I'll do that last. Okay. Actually, no. I know why I wanted to do that again. I remember. Just wanted to have that for. Okay, just so if you have a straightaway section that's not connected to anything behind it, the whole how it's you see how it's moving a very I'm only able to move it forwards and backwards like that. It'll kind of start swinging around all over the place if you don't have that in the back. So how long is this? Okay, so there's this yellow text in the bottom bottom left corner of the sandbox window, and I think I'm just gonna have OBS just turn that on, assuming I didn't fuck it again. Fuck it up. Nope, that's the wrong thing. I am obviously a pro streamer. So there's this yellow text in the on the bottom left corner, and like the thing is picking this background might have been a bad idea for visibility's sake. So, crap. You see segment length, 689.70 meters. Yeah. It's a backer straight, all right. When we get to like possibly a longer curve rather, there'll be some issues that I'll have to mention as well, because there's another thing with Sandbox and long turns as well. So what I originally thought of when I was thought of like an area, like a track on the Area 51 runways, was to have it cut in here and then go up instead of what Anthony did, which was here, here, and here. And I think Anthony's idea is better than mine. Even though this does make this back straight, but like I know it's grass, and I know the real runways are definitely wider than this, which means this is almost certainly longer than this. But I also, like, as I mentioned a bunch of times already, I think I'm utilizing the power of I don't care I'm gonna make this shorter. So here we go. So sometimes when you add a huge bank curve that wraps around to the runway, yeah, I don't like to do bank turns. I really do on road circuits. I generally don't. I don't like to do them. Xanarkin is an exception because that track is very tight as it is, and that track it kind of sucks to drive on because it's really wonky, and I do a lot of short shoot straights on it, and that was a mistake, and I might go back and reprofile those out, but then I have to redo the underside of the track. So what are the limits of lengths? Try to make the desert bus track and the game straight. Refused. There might the limits of lengths. I know a limit of the corner length, and we're gonna get. Or it's not really corner length; it's corner radius. So, the radius of curvature. I'm actually being smart here. Radius of curvature. If that number gets over, I think 2,000, like 3,000 or something. If radius of curvature is over, like, I think it's close to 3,000 or maybe 3,000. Sandbox will crash and you save it because it won't know what to do with it. And there is a Highway 52 that exists for NR, and that track is, I'm gonna check. I don't know. I don't remember how long Highway 52 is. So I am actually going to find the track folder. 93.499 miles. Yeah, see, that's what Highway 52 is. It's like an actual highway in Minnesota. Zenjoltis is 4, I think. It feels a lot longer than it is. In Zenjoltis, I raced it in like a league. No. Zenjoltis sucked to drive. Like, it was like you were like yeah, no, that's fine. Sandbox can be like, some people have had experiences of it being more temperamental than others. So you may notice I had this fast corner in here, which maybe or may not be the best idea. I am going to do a like left right thing, which is what Anthony had sketched out, but I'm doing this a little differently than he did. This might be terrible. It might be awful.
But yeah, the idea here being, because of the way the NRAI sometimes behave on road courses under acceleration, if you want to make this move on the inside for an AI car anyway for it to work, in order to make sure that it's not too easy to defend from this right-hander might make it easier, because if for whoever's on the inside they have a easier time powering out, whereas on the outside they're going to on the outside the AI won't accelerate as quickly. But I may alter the angle of this slightly, which is going to really impact this turn up here, which I am going to move slightly. Zenjolta, so yeah, every other 24-lane 4-mile super speedway, but make it Minecraft. I actually sketched out a what could an actual Minecraft track before, I did, and it looked dumb, but the whole point of it was it was going to have all 90, mostly all 90-degree turns and all jaggedy walls and stuff. The reason why I didn't make it was because of texture strobing. That's why I didn't go anything past planning stage, or anything seriously past planning stage. The NRAI don't they don't mind switchbacks. They actually handle them fine if they're mostly flat. I say mostly fine, not always. But compared to what was originally sketched out, which is a much tighter, I think, sequence, this might be better. But as for whether or not the AI prefer this, kinda, not really. I do a lot to kind of discourage some of the AI silly bullshit, and that's definitely on kind of on the list of things I try to AI behaviors I like to kind of put my foot down on. Okay, now here's where this is where because this whole section was a bit more jagged and squared off, and I'm scaling this up a little bit just to make this possibly a better experience here. I say possibly because the thing with some tracks that I've made, or some tracks that I've at least sketched out, is after turning a lap or two on them, I realize this is terrible. And then I'll just either blow it up or just change shit. I think Gravicity Zone 7, I think I legitimately drove about 200 laps around the track just before I started placing objects down, before I was really happy with it. I did there was a lot of testing went into that thing. And I wanted to make sure that thing was as nice as it could be. Because Gravicity Zone 7 is a very rough that track is incredibly rough also. This is probably where scaling this up is might have been scaling some of this up might be a bit of a better option here. And it's going back also to a while ago to now you mentioned that oh yeah, you can no, you don't, no, elevation's not locked down yet. You can do this is about the time when you can do it. But I'm just getting a basic layout in. I'm just I'm gonna make this bigger for just right now. And this part might not. This part in here is a little bit questionable because that straightaway is not very long. But you know, who knows? I could be wrong, and this could actually be fine. And if this is all like downhill and stuff, or like there's, you know, there's some uphill downhill stuff in here. You know, it could be fine also. So like you'd probably have some like extra runoff like right in here probably. But what I'm just gonna do for tonight is just mostly get the. So as far as like making working cons, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna like I'll show you like later what we need to do in order to make this be like at least in the at least go as far as working as like something that actually works. I think that would actually be a really good place to leave off because the I want to check something real quick. I want to see if that has started yet. And when I mean that, I mean the San Jose Sharks game today because I wanted to watch it because they're playing St. Louis, and all my homies hate the Blues. Okay, that is actually going to start in like a couple minutes. That's fine. I don't mind if I miss the like first part of that. Also related, Kyle Beach is the bravest man on the face of the planet. And anyone who says otherwise, I will fight you. Okay, so this is where like when I thought about doing a track here, this stuff in here is what I thought was a little bit interesting. So what I'm gonna actually do is deviate a lot. I'm gonna have this swing over, and I'm gonna have it do like a kind of a horseshoe-ish turn, and then swing back here, make this a fast right hand turn, make this right here a fast right hand turn, and then go screaming back down, and then go screaming back down here towards the end of the lap probably. Maybe put some other shit in here, but you know, not entirely necessary. I hope he does too. And also give Alex the brink at the goddamn C already. He's on most of the fucking most of the advertisements in the city anyway, and he has been for quite a while. Like, just fucking do it, you schmucks. Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Maybe that should be longer, actually. Oh, wait a minute. So we actually could that go down? Oh, wait a minute. I got a better idea. Similar idea, but it's gonna have that go. Like, yeah, I like there's some other things about like the about Kyle Beach that I'm not going to kind of like how I personally related to it, and how I felt about it from not really a similar experience, but sorta. I want to keep off live stream for now. I say it's related, but not really. And I also highly recommend people. If you know who Brock McGillis is, he had he put out a pretty good statement, and I highly recommend people. Even if you don't know anything about this whole situation, it's about the perception of predators, which I think is absolutely. I think some people absolutely need to hear that. He's a gay advocate, as in he is a gay man who is an advocate. Okay. This may not have been as good of an idea as I thought, but we're gonna go with it. Oh wait, no, I can make this just open up a little. Actually, I should probably make this open up a little bit more. Yeah. So it's not gonna be like exactly like a that one turn Suzuka, but you can kind of tell it's similar. How long is this again? Hey, Peter. How you doing, my man? And yeah, just like as an aside, the going back to like the view changing a lot. Uh that's kind of the main reason why I don't do live broadcasts of races is because a lot of those have like the same quality, like the camera jumps around a lot, and I'm never ready for those, and it gets on my nerves. But yeah, it's real good to hear. Yeah, I'm just doodling, making a real quick NR track, or at least something that's drivable in game. Oh hell yeah! Were you on? Were you doing the one with Cameron again? Ooh, yeah, I have a better idea here. Oh, F. I know he like just moved house, so he's like in like close to you, I think now. Oh, yeah, he's been on Discord like kinda recently. So like he's not totally AWOL. But yeah, you need to whip him back into shape. And say, "Hey, where'd you go, guy?" Again, like that's a cop out, man. He's again, I see him in Discord enough times. I guess it's fairly often. But yeah, right now I'm just gonna I'm not gonna do a whole lot of elevation right now. Probably won't do any. Um, if we revisit this track, or if I just end up making this public, which is honestly very likely. Um, oh, how's he doing? I know he didn't like end on the best of terms last we talked, but um, yeah, yeah. How's he been? Attach segment at head. Ooh, that's looking a little nasty, actually. Oh, this just looks like that looks dumb. Oh yeah, let's go to law school. Oh, best of luck in that regard because I think my alma mater is They don't like it's like there's not as many like positions open as there used to be. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely got like a parabolica type deal going on here now. So which means this would like we'd add like runoff and shit here later. Yeah, reverse parabolica because it's a left-hander. Okay, that's since that would be at tail. Okay, so sometimes when you join a track like all going all the way around, you're gonna have like some issues with like you see these. They don't want to like completely join up. Open, yeah, F1 2021 open lobby parabolica. Okay, so we're gonna see untie. I'm gonna right click this, and they see untie at head. I'm gonna do that because, of course, we have the X section here under the wall. So you know now it's still not gonna really join up to either. Like it, okay, yeah, it is. Okay, so like we got it to lock in, and then we just pull this back in, and it's fine. Gonna have to probably do that with the other ones too, except for these. Actually, these might be fine because these didn't move. Yeah. Okay, so now it's the start finish line on the Baku straight that we have created here. I'm gonna just show like off something real quick. So we have like this Baku straight. I'm gonna do split segment, which basically this just splits the segment in in half, right where the yellow line is. I'm gonna do that. Select the latter half of it, and I'm gonna say make lead segment. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go save as, because I haven't saved in a lot longer than I probably should have. This isn't perfect. It's not great. It might be terrible. I have no idea. The track length is, you see at the bottom, 2609.46 meters. That is that's not even 2 miles long. So I'm just putting that out there. This is, some things are smaller than they look. Or, larger sometimes. So I'm gonna go to scale. We're gonna make this puppy a little bigger, so I'm gonna put 105 in here. Is this track laser scanned? Yeah, it was scanned. This track was laser scanned by the finest stormtrooper rifles this side of Mos Eisley. Yeah, going more than 30 seconds up backing it up is playing with fire. Yeah, it kind of is. But I play with fire a lot, and yeah, storm. That's why I said stormtrooper rifles, and what these stormtrooper rifles never do. It's a joke that Star Wars and Star Trek fans, people that watch both anyway, have. The stormtrooper fires his gun, doesn't hit anything, but the red shirt still dies anyway. Okay, so now we have this in a. This isn't really in like a perfectly usable state. There's a few things that are missing. It's right now it's in like a folder within the folder, so to speak. Well, no, but it's not so to speak because it literally is. But before we do that, I'm going to get a track INI from, what am I going to pick on? I'm going to pick on Burlington because that's pretty similar. Copy. We're gonna paste it in.
There's something else I need to get from Burlington. So there's something that you need for the track to work at all, which is a fast setup. Otherwise, it will not start. You don't need the rest of them. You just need fast cup sim, but I put all of them in. These are your default setups. Do not copy LPs from one track to another unless they are exactly the same length. And I'm just going to say you do not do that. They will break. I am going to also copy something else. I'm just going to go into open this track INI. I'm going to put name short as Project Precipitate Area 50. Yeah, sure. The track name short is what it's going to appear as on the drop down in the on the drop down in NR. So track length is you'll notice that this is the old Burlington track INI. The track length is just a number. And that's because that is the exact length of Burlington in meters. Oh, shit. God damn it. Urgh. Okay. Okay, so I put track name. Okay, so what I was just saying, track name short is, this is what it's going to appear as in the drop down in NR. This is a copy paste of Burlington's track INI, and I'm only doing the bare minimum we need to in order to get it to work. The track length is right here is the exact length. Son of a bitch. Now is it playing nice? Angery bangery. Okay, so so this right here is the drop down name that it'll show up as an NR, and then this little value right here, this is the exact length of Burlington in meters, and NR will do the conversion to miles for you, so you don't have to write in the length of the track in miles by doing like 0.5 m or whatever for a half-mile track. You don't have to do that. Where does this distance come from? This track length of 2739.93, which I'm just going to write in right now. Has F1 hired you instead of Tilke yet? No, because I have this thing called, like, at least somewhat of a moral compass. Because what I would have done is I would have made the track. I would have designed the track in Jeddah to just look like a giant penis. Because again, I would do that mostly just to fuck with them. And because I am not the most mature person in the world, even though some people think I am. I don't know why. So anyway, this track length of 2739.93, that is the distance of the center line going all the way around the track. So it is calculated from the very middle of the track. So, which is why if you have a track that, if you want like the length measured from the outside wall, then that's where you'd have like the center line. The center line would just be, you know, hugging the outside wall or something like that. I'm also reminded though there was like the one corner at like Hanoi, which I'll keep that for another time, but I have a very colorful name for it. Yeah, people making cheddar keep having Sandbox crash on them. yeah, Sandbox is crashing on them IRL, also called LOL, this is what you get, fuckers. Gulf State Vanity Projects. Sports washing, what are those things? Alright, but anyway. So like when 2739.93 will be converted in NR to miles for you. Okay, I'm gonna scroll all the way down in this track INI down to there's the testing stall, which I think just uses, or no, yeah, regular stall 0. Okay, so I'm gonna place only one pit stall right now, and that's not even going to be where the pit lane is, because we don't know where the pit lane is. We don't even know if this is actually going to be the front straightaway yet. I think it should be, but if this gets picked up by somebody else, they might just end up putting this track in the description here when we're done. They can move wherever they like. Stall 0 is what we're going to use for our testing purposes. So this first number, that's distance from the start finish line. In meters. You can have this be a negative number, however, it will not work well in replays. It actually works in game, but when looking at a replay, it'll make all the pit stalls that have like a negative number here. So if you have like a race of like 30 AI cars, for example, and you have like some of the pit stalls have like a negative number on them, they'll all appear stacked on top of each other. Yeah, put it in the middle of a corner. I actually sketched up an NR track that did that, but I didn't do anything with it. It was a scaled up, like, I put the start finish line, like, right, not, like, you were just starting to get off turn 4. It was a scaled up Abbotsford, and, I didn't do anything with it. It actually worked fine, but that track was also not like Phoenix. It was kind of its own animal. And Phoenix I actually like as in NASCAR because, like, not the new Phoenix, I like the old Phoenix better. But Phoenix is like the only track in NASCAR other than Daytona and Indianapolis where you actually really get a sense of where you are. Like, if you take off like a Texas Motor Speedway or whatever, you take off all the signage and stuff that says, Texas or whatever, that like gives away the track location, and you say, yeah, we're in Jacksonville, Florida. You ain't gonna fucking know that. And it might fool you it might take a while for you to notice, but like you're just looking at photos of it or whatever. Phoenix has all those hills around it. There's like cactus and shit everywhere. Yeah, put in the middle of a hard braking zone. Chill out there, Satan. Alright, so what I'm going to do is... this is another thing you got to be careful of. So when you... sometimes when you split a segment and before you've reloaded the track, sometimes the first set of red numbers there where it says like what segment I'm on, sometimes those won't update. And it'll say something else. Just be careful of that. So so anyway, going back to the pit stalls. This is the this is distance ahead of the start finish line. Don't make this a negative number because it'll fuck up replays, even though it does function. This is how far away it is from the center line, either to the left or to the right. Now, if it's 15.75, that means to the left. That's gonna be right here, more like right there. Yeah, like right there. And then this third number is orientation. And when I mean orientation, I mean like how, like if it's pointed straight ahead or not. Usually you just want to leave this at 0 and be done with it. The only reason you wouldn't is if it's, you have like a bunch of pit stalls like outside of a track on like a turn or something, like you see on like some short tracks. Where the pits are on the outside and like another parking lot or whatever. So I'm gonna leave this at 0. I'm gonna just make this I'm gonna just put this to 12.75, and then I'm just gonna set this to 20. This is right now the only one we need because we don't have a pit lane defined. And that's, for right now, that's fine because this is, oh, is that what that does? Okay, I don't use rebuild track. I don't use that. Okay, so yeah, apparently, like, the thing I just mentioned about, like, the segments, and, like, the coordinates, like, some of those distances not updating, can be handled by rebuild track. I was waiting for my phone to make sound. We have that. We have in this folder up here, we have almost everything we need. There's one more thing I'm gonna copy in here. Actually, a couple things. This is gonna sound like maybe not the right thing to do, but we're gonna do it. Gonna copy the PTF, the track contents of that in the track mat folder. We do not need this. I don't think, anyway. If you make the pit box 1, 1, 0, it'll basically place you in the start finish line, yeah. Or 0. 0 places you right on the start finish line. And like almost on the center line. Right now I have this is the track folder as is. I'm gonna just change the name of it to just Cynon area because, you know, version 7 is the most up-to-date one. I think we have everything here, but there's one thing we're gonna need. Or, well, not one thing we're gonna need right now. There's something we're gonna need in the track folder for much later down the line. The U.S. Pits has the Nürburgring, which is a massive track in Germany. You're going to want the camera file from it, because when you do cam edit doesn't like to redo spectator cameras. It's a bug with it that was never fixed. But the Nürburgring, you can get around this problem on the basis that it has so many cameras that you just set the ones you want on spectator camera and then delete the rest. So that is so I'm just going to put that here, even though, again, this is just the Nürburgring's camera file, and it's not going to show us anything useful right now. And as of right now, we have fastcup.sim. Think we have everything we need. Is my wheel plugged in? I think so. That's how long the track is. There's no like track logo, track shot, or anything of the sort right now. I have my own way of doing those, but I'm just opting not to get into them right now. Oh, so there's one thing that I didn't check for, and that this track is like set to be a night track right now. So that's why everything looks black. So don't worry about it. I'll go and I'll show you where to fix that in just a second. But first, you're gonna notice that you got some funky light things shining on these track detectors that are clearly meant to be in the daytime. I'm just going to go back into options because I don't remember what I had everything set at. And when I mean everything, I mean the steering assist, because I was doing LPs recently for the Minnesota track, and I like to have the steering assist on for those, like when I'm when I'm fine-tuning, just because I'm not the smoothest driver in the world. But like the more I keep redoing some of those LPs, like eventually it gets smoother. Also, I'm not the world's best driver, so like when I mentioned Road America, the width of Road America, and I said Road America was 10 meters wide. I probably should have mentioned this at the time, but this is twice the width of Road America. At least it is like around 6, like 6, 7, 8, something like that. Also, the default setup here is hot garbage, but that's fine. Either that or I'm just being a spanner, which is more likely. So the way you can like make some of this track like probably a little bit better, just from like what I'm looking at right now, is by actually narrowing the track up, and I think we'll do that a little bit before we, because there's one thing I'm gonna want to show anyway. I'm just letting this thing drift wherever the hell it wants at the moment. And if we, so this is when you haven't done any LPs yet, and you just turn the race line on like I just did, it's gonna go right across the center line. So yeah, no, Peter, I'm just driving it very badly because I'm like half paying attention, and I'm also just, so no, it is not really the car's fault. There is a fair bit of fault on the operator here. And also because I normally have the steering assist at 1 just to have the wheel, for whatever reason in NR with the DFGT, having the steering assistance at 1 makes the wheel a hell of a lot heavier, but it still, like, it's basically like you don't have assist on at all. It's like, okay, you have, you know, more, like, fine control, I guess, or something. So, yeah, so in however long we've been, or no, I have it at 1 already. Okay, I'm just bad then. That settles that. So we have, like, in however long we've been live for, went from nothing to a track that you can at least do ref lap on. Am I going to do that? No, not right now. No. Dear God, oh, that might be why. That's crap. This is gonna be better now. Now I just loaded in the fast setup. Yeah, sometimes NR will do that on you. It'll load like some garbage ass setup that, you know, comes from, yeah, this is better. Like, I know I locked him up pretty badly, but at least it stopped. And so like one of the issues here that I'm seeing with the track is I think a lot of this is too wide. By quite a bit, and some of my older tracks have this problem. The Volker Hackman. I actually still have all the Volker Hackman setups, believe it or not. And I think there's one track that I put out where the fast setup was straight up a Volker Hackman setup. And I didn't say that's what it was, and I also don't remember which track it was. Yeah. The default setup was a Volker Hackman setup. It might have been the Maxwell Center. I don't think, no, I think the Maxwell Center, Cameron and somebody else did the setups on that one. Because I didn't, because I know that's like one of the only tracks I've actually like outsourced like specific like people to do a setup for it. I think Phil did one for it as well. Wow, I just lazily missed that. I'm world class. Give me like fucking Nikita Mazepin number of rubles and I'll throw them at Haas. God damn. I might be just as shit as he is, but at least I haven't fucking raped anybody. So there's so we go now back to track in Sandbox. And I'm going to go into track lighting options. Ambient color is the color that everything is going it's like the ambient light of the night area, like when you're away from a light box. The reason why everything was all black was because there were no light boxes. Light boxes, what now you may ask, what's a light box? It emits light. It's like the light posts on like a lot of the night tracks. You also may ask, what does sky rotation do? Rotates the sky. So if you want like this, like if you want to like give the perception that like this like that north is in a different part of the track, you can. I'm not going to do that. I usually don't. I say usually because there are a couple of tracks where I have done that. So I'm just going to make an iterative save here. And you also may have noticed that a lot of the texture mapping I did earlier got a little bit messed up on the walls. That is a Sandbox quirk that annoys me to no end, but is actually very fixable. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say what, 13? Yeah, let's go with. No, I'm gonna go with 12. I'm gonna go with 12 meters, and this is gonna be at 625. I think this will still let me do this because there is one function I think would be neat to show off. Can I do? Oh, copy features. Yes, it'll let me do it, or it should. Okay, so it doesn't do it quite as cleanly as I was expecting it to, but all right, whatever. So copy features only works if like the segments in front and behind have the same number, I think, of like X sections and like same number of segments on them. In the not quite the same places, but close enough, I think. Or some silly shit like that. I'm doing it this way just because it's faster than doing it just going around and manually selecting every segment to do that, which I have done before, and honestly, yeah, it is annoying, but like when you have particularly long days or something, is not really that bad. It honestly isn't. Like if like it is kind of and it is kind of like the put on something else and like shut brain off and then just do a very simple task. Like you're nothing space there. I remembered what word I was looking for. I know words barely, but I do. Yeah, I kind of want to see what now Nass, if you're still there, I kind of want to see what you and Clayton can do with it, can come up with, because I kind of want to get him to like start, making stuff. I like to see more people make shit. I do. I genuinely really do. So, okay. One thing that I'm probably not going to add in right now, but if I do like a part 2 with this track, like a live stream or whatever with this track, I probably will do, will be the pit lane. And I know, like, we got on a pretty long time, and I'm getting a little, like, you know, a little tired of looking at this, but you know, I kind of like, I did kind of leave that out, but I wanted just to kind of make something that's drivable, at least for the time being. Just kind of, for the record right now, the most number of cars that an NR track can hold is 47, as far as I'm aware. That's 46 AI and 1 human. And if the reason why I found some old sketches for Race Complex of the Road Course, Oval, and Short Oval, but I also have a beloved track I made in GT5 Minute to see it come back to life. Yes, that's what, and that's what this is for. If you want to like recreate real tracks, there are people that genuinely that like do that. I've only made one real life, or technically 2, but only released one real life track, and it didn't really look like the way it does in real life, or even when it was actually being used. And I'm talking about Middle Georgia. I have never been to the state of Georgia before, but you know, I kind of picked that up on a whim because Eric, I think it was Eric McConnell, suggested it, and I was like, that's a really cool idea, and we just got to talking, and it took off. Like it was like the premise of the Middle Georgia track basically is, what if that track was still in use by NASCAR? Essentially, it's like, you know, like, yeah, this is a track that is, you know, still, you know, upkept and all that. So we have these. I added these like peach colored walls, but like the banking profile is exactly the way it is in real life. And when I say exactly, I mean almost perfectly, because I think I got within about a degree of what it really was and really is in real life, just using there's onboard footage of like cars driving around that track for a Dodge ad that was done some time ago, and I just used a dash cam and used the telephone pole and the telephone pole, a dashboard, and the ground from outside that car, or from outside someone's car. And when I asked Eric, because he knew someone who raced there, or knows, I guess, because hopefully they're still with us, but asked someone who ran there, and he said, gave me the banking, and he said that, yeah, it was really, he said you were like really like scared, like spookily close, which, you know, I wasn't there. The guy who filmed it who did that filming with the telephone pole was, because I figured that'd be a good reference point, because, you know, unlike trees, phone poles kind of do, or they're supposed to stick mostly straight up in the air. And I mentioned that not like to brag, but to say, not like, okay, not entirely to brag, because I am proud of myself for that. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also just to kind of mention that, you know, if you're gonna do recreations of real stuff and you have an object, like there's something in the distance that you can see is, from when you have you have an onboard camera for, as like, you know, your point of reference, you can use a still frame that has like a something that is sticking straight up and down like that, like a phone pole, that can be a really good reference point. It's like what banking can be. Buildings can be good also, but phone poles are usually just like a straight line, so it's like we're released appear as such. So that's why I said those. And not only that, but not every building is, you know, perfectly or at least is, you know, straight enough. Like radio towers would be good. Walls not so much, because not every wall is straight up and down. at the Rockford Speedway in Illinois, there's a wall that is not perfectly straight up and down, and cars ramp off it a fair bit. And you can find some video footage of that, and it's pretty wild, but like it's not, you know. Well, yeah. Oops, I fucked up. I actually held the mouse button down too long and I dragged this around, so I gotta undo that. Ah, shit, I did untight. Crap. Okay, so I gotta fix this. Untie head, here we go. Alright, we're good. Sometimes that can happen where, like, you know, you just drag stuff around without realizing you still have the mouse button down. But yeah, you can find like some footage of it of some of those at Rockford, and it's wild looking stuff. I don't know if it's I don't like know if that's better than the alternative, but you know, maybe it is, maybe like probably isn't, but maybe it is. It doesn't sound good, that's for sure, but you know, so not every wall and every track is perfectly straight, so. And I think the NR2003 Rockford, or at least the original Rockford, because Siege has edited that track like, how many times? I'm gonna say about 25. I don't know if Siege took that wall out in the one that, unlike his Franken edition of that track, or not. So right now I'm just finishing up that, and here we have this. I'm going to do another save, and then I'm going to move this back up into the into this folder, because we don't have any objects. We don't have any objects really, so this is fine as is. I'm gonna fire up NR again, and we're gonna see how this looks. Maybe we'll call it after that. Oh, Sharks are leading 2-1 after its first period's almost over. Okay. Yep, see? That's a light problem. It's cloudy. So yeah, you can see track's a lot narrower. If you're wondering why the grass kind of looks as nice as it does, like with like how light looks to be shining off it properly, that's not a default thing in the game. That is, that's a mod. Okay, there's one thing I forgot to do. Is the center line the groove? Yes. Yes, the groove stuck to, yes, that's the center line. So, yeah. This is 12 meters wide. Before it was 20, so. You can like check back on some of my tracks that I made. Like some of them are variable width, but most of them they kind of be pretty close to being fixed width most of the way around. Gravis City Zone 7 I know is ridiculously wide. Burlington I think was narrower. Actually I don't remember. I'll have to double check that. Oh wow, I'm not paying attention. I'm bad. yeah, this is, kind of basic. There's still one thing I probably am gonna want to do, and that's fix the texture mapping on the walls. But that's a lot simpler to fix, and I'll show you how simple that is. Okay, let me the last change we do. So, our wall textures are all gummied up. See, they look like that. Because, we went around and started doing copy, apply properties, and adding segments, and all sorts of things that Sandbox is... At least those, for some stupid reason, aren't real fond of. So we have to click on that, but sometimes it won't automatically select it. It'll select the X section under it, which some people might say, well, that's why you don't have an X section and a wall in the same place. I just say shush, because I do that all the time. So remember we had the U and V as 1, and then we had this one checked. And sometimes it'll do the opposite, or no, actually it did in this case. Wall left is fine there. Wall right, or no, left is not fine. Because we entered 1.0 for the text field there. And yeah, so we have this one fine, and then we're going to hit, I'm going to move this onto another section of track really quick. Okay. You're gonna think, okay, so do we have to recheck all these going the whole way around the track? No, we don't. We have the copy properties thing here, forward and back. If materials are different, then if the material is different, then it'll alert you. If this is different on the track you're on, or on the section you're copying properties to, it won't alert you. So just be aware of that. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. And if you want to see which segment we have selected, you can watch it right there. And we made it around the track on one side. And then on the other, we just select any of them, really. I'm just gonna pick on this guy. Actually, yeah, that's all fine. And you can do either forwards or backwards. We're gonna go backwards. And I am going all over the place. See, we have it fixed here. And honestly, on a lot of tracks that get released, I think that what I just fixed is a very common mistake a lot of track makers make. I've noticed it on my track. Hey, James. We are making, or what we've done here is we've made a layout based off the runways of a little place in Nevada. Yeah, we've made this drivable in, how long have we been live? 2 hours 30. But by first 5 minutes I wasn't really doing anything, so 2 hours 25. Yeah. This is what this isn't to scale, and it's not, and as you can probably tell, it's not really following everything. This is just something really basic that's drivable. There's no pit lane yet. There's no LPs yet, but this is just like the kind of the bare minimum you can do to get a track to function to the point where you can drive on it. And I'm thinking about doing another part of this, and also I want to do I want to like at least put the files that I have here, at least make them available for everyone to kind of like watch, like I guess follow along. So I'm gonna make this public. I admit, oh, it, yeah, you could, yeah, like it does kinda, but um, I want to be kind of clear on like that this is like I'm probably gonna leave this up, and I admit I ramble a lot. I'm kind of all over the place. Things break, but that's fine. What I wanted, the main goal I hope I got across anyway, is to kind of dispel some of how, like, some of the things that make Sandbox really daunting. I may or may not have done a good job of that. I hope I did, but um, and yeah, this was a like live stream that I said I think 5 years ago in the NR2003 fans Facebook group that I was gonna do, and as you can tell, I'm very timely about it. Yeah. I'll probably put this up, so if you want to, take this and run with it and do whatever you want with it, fine. Yeah. I'm absolutely gonna. The only thing I won't do is I won't put like the shared folder in there just because it'll bloat the file size. But I'll leave the shared one folder in there just so that you kind of know like what you need to do for that. And when I mean the shared folder, I mean this. But also what I was doing was also like showing some of my like own personal work habits when working on NR tracks, and I personally think they're very helpful. But if you have a different, like slightly different way of working, or that works better for you, fine. I'm actually gonna just zip this up right now. I'm just gonna put this in a RAR file, and yeah, I still use WinRAR because I'm a nerd like that. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for showing up, and hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. My voice sounds a little tired. It's because it kind of is. I'm gonna probably go hang out in a Discord voice chat probably until too late in the morning. So you have a wonderful rest of your evening, y'all. Bye bye.